Good morning. Utter devastation. At least 45 dead nationwide, including at least 21 in North Carolina alone, after a massive string of tornadoes rips across the country over the weekend. From the plains to the southeast, it's the worst outbreak of spring storms in a quarter century. But amid the carnage, stories of survival and heroism as well. Fast-thinking employees at one huge store saving everyone inside despite a direct hit. And we'll meet one of the men being hailed as a hero today, Monday, April 18th, 2011.
They responded. They were just there. There was really no application process because everybody was just standing in the street because all of our stuff was destroyed. Yeah, it was just different. I don't know.
How do you feel about the whole FEMA with Katrina and how they?
I think that's disgusting.
When it comes to applying for financial aid, there are a bunch of rules. First of all, there's housing needs and non-housing needs. Housing needs are your house, like the foundation, sewage, just a bunch of things. You only qualify for it if it's your primary residence, you don't have any other residences, if you don't have insurance or whatever your insurance doesn't cover, FEMA will. Non-housing needs is just medical stuff and the things that are located inside your house when the disaster comes. It's just a bunch of bureaucratic red tape and little rules and regulations that they can have to not fund you. When 9/11 came about, there was a shift in focus for FEMA. The Bush administration decided that instead of focusing on natural disasters, it was going to instead focus on the threat of terrorism. It was relocated under the Department of Homeland Security in 2003. Of the 222 exercises that FEMA had in 2004, only 2 involved hurricanes, and those 2 were what to do if terrorists attack during a hurricane.
To do what they're supposed to be doing. That's criminal behavior. I mean, there's no game. There are people dead in the city of New Orleans and up and down the Gulf Coast because people charged with seeing to their welfare failed to do that.
The thing is, people don't know where to go now. They're not being told where to go. 2 days ago, I was on that.
Mr. Speaker, August 29, 2009 will mark the 4th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. As I prepare to return to the 2nd District, I am reflective not so much of the unprecedented damage that wreaked havoc on the innocent, but on the power of the human spirit that was so evident in every citizen as they returned to New Orleans to rebuild their homes and jumpstart their communities.
Turning now to our top story at 5:02, FEMA crews scheduled to begin assessing flood damage in North Carolina today.
Windsor, of course, hit so hard by that rain and flooding. The mayor there says he is hoping for that federal disaster declaration. 10 Your Side's Katie Collette is live in our newsroom now with the details on what those magic words could mean for a town that needs help.
Hey, Carrie and Don, good morning. That federal disaster declaration would free up funds and manpower to help with the flood cleanup. Many in Windsor say their small town hasn't seen this much flood damage since 1999 when Hurricane Floyd hit.
The project has better allowed us to understand the inner workings of FEMA and the concept of cooperative federalism. Without the cooperation from state and local governments, FEMA's ability to aid the victims of disasters would be severely limited. One of the biggest accusations FEMA receives is the fact that they don't respond quick enough, but they can't do anything until the local government tells the state government, who can then declare a state of disaster, which lets FEMA know they need to come help. This process can take a few days, like it did with Katrina, or it can take weeks, as it did with the flooding in Windsor, North Carolina. There are just a bunch of steps that everyone has to go through, and it really slows down the process, which is detrimental when it could mean the difference between life and death for hundreds of people.